Monday morning. I have a couple of interesting things to do today. We've actually had 2 new starts join the company, a new marketing person and a new community management person. So today I have to prep a wee presentation on what exactly I do here, what does a producer do, and run through the lines that I look after the particular games. So always fun to put together a little summary of what you do and recontextualize everything for new folk. Other than that, I have to try and get these last few chapters off to editing so that I can move on to the next thing for Ways and Means, which will be the zine. So if I can get all of that done today, I will classify this as a good day. But we are fully getting into the autumnal weather here in Scotland now, which means dark, short days, and it is currently misty and pretty grim outside. So I have my big, wonderful seasonal affective disorder sad lamp brought out of storage so I can shove my face in that to try and trick my brain into thinking that there's more than 5 minutes of sunshine through the day, and take all my vitamin D tablets, etc. And hopefully that will stave off some of the sads. We'll see how we get on, shall we? I think one of the most interesting questions I'm often asked is what exactly a producer does in a company. And I think it's reflective of a general misunderstanding about the size of the professional tabletop role-playing game industry. In general, even the largest companies, the largest role-playing game companies are making the most popular games, are often really quite small in terms of actual full-time employees. It's an industry where if your company has more than 10 people working in it, you're considered medium to large, you know? And when you consider that in terms of your average coffee shop has more employees than the average tabletop role-playing game company, you can start to see where titles and responsibilities can start to get really muddy. If your company has 3 to 5 all the way up to 10 people, you can guarantee that each person in that company has multiple responsibilities. The company's not large enough that everybody can just do one thing, and that is their job full time, you know? Before working in role-playing games, I worked in the video games industry. And a lot of video games companies are much larger scale. And in a place like that, a producer is normally someone who is very managerial, very organizing based, you know? The companies are large enough and the project's complex enough that a producer can spend 9 to 5 just doing spreadsheets and budgets and contracts and reviews and all these sorts of things. That's what a producer would do. But in a creative industry where the teams are so small, everyone has to do so many things. Everyone has to wear so many hats. And I find that the term producer in the tabletop role-playing game industry is such a broad spectrum terminology. I know some role-playing game producers who are that managerial style, but most of the jobs I've had where I've been a producer, they've also been highly creative. For myself, as a producer, I do a lot of budgeting, scheduling, I do a lot of writing, I do a lot of design, I do a lot of flat planning and like feedback on layout, and it's much more of what I think some industries would call like a creative lead rather than like a production lead, because production has a more mechanical vibe to it than like a creative lead terminology would have. But that's just the companies I worked at. Some places it's not like that. And every company is different, and the requirements of the teams change quite often. Even going from Cubicle 7, where I worked previously, to Roanrick and Deckard, a producer at Cubicle 7 when I was working there very rarely interacted with the printing side of the book. Everything was about getting the PDF ready to go off to print. So lots of art, writing, design, very much creative side of things. But I never had to worry about pre-pressing print files or picking a printer, negotiating costs and print runs and timelines and everything, which is something that I have to do at Rowan Rick and Deckard. I had to learn a lot about printing when I came here because that is an aspect of a producer's role here. So I think it's why some companies struggle to give titles and names to all of their people, because even at Rowan Rick and Deckard, for a long period of time, I was doing a lot of the marketing copy and whatnot. So when I was running the crowdfunding campaign, creating advertisements and doing interviews and all these sorts of things, because we didn't have a dedicated marketing person. We've only just brought a dedicated marketing person on board as of a couple of weeks ago, which is what's got this all fresh in my head, because that's a part of my job, this marketing and community management side that is now no longer my job. I'm still a producer, but that responsibility is no longer there. I've got more time and freedom to lean more into like more of the creative side of things. And in 6 months' time, my job may be different again. I may have adopted more responsibilities, or other responsibilities might have been, taken away by other full-time staff joining, or just the shuffle of projects. So, yeah, production. Oh, hello. So yeah, I don't really know where I'm going at this point necessarily, other than the role of producer is a strange one that seems to change all the time based on what company you're in and what skills you have and what skills you're needed at the time. But it is one of the reasons why I really like the job. No 2 days feel the same when I'm a producer, because some days I'll be doing marketing stuff, some days I'll be doing writing, some days I'll be doing design, sometimes I'm doing layout, some days I'm making a video for a crowdfunding campaign. It's all very different day to day, which can sometimes make it feel a little bit scatterbrained, but in general I quite like it, rather than sort of sitting down and doing the same thing 9 to 5 days a week. So I guess the lesson, such that it is, if you want to take one away from this, is if you're wanting to get into making role-playing games 9 to 5, don't discount any skills that you have from other roles, responsibilities, because you'll probably get some use out of them, I guess that's where I'm at. I am a little bit brain scrambled. I'm a little bit shattered. So I think I'm just gonna have to go. I'm so tired. I don't know why today particularly. I think it's maybe just it's been so dark today. I don't know. This is just the general mood today is I am so tired. But I shall see you tomorrow, where maybe I'll have a little bit more insight than producer is a strange title and contains multitudes. Alright, have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow.